That movie is a shit show. What you think you see, what you think you hear, that's what it's about. It's all theater of the mind. No, it's garbage. It's garbage. Mood and atmosphere. Now that I really like. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to see.
What's going on, everybody? That kind of music makes you, you kind of have to do that face. You got to, just the way it is, what's going on? Hey, I'm back again. I didn't think I'd be back this soon. Thankfully for you guys, I actually have a bit of time in the evenings these last couple of days, so I've been able to actually pump these out. It's 7:04 p.m. here on this Thursday, September the 9th, 2021. And news dropped today that Halloween Kills. You know that movie you guys are sort of semi-excited to see? Is being released theatrically, of course. But it is also going to Peacock, that's right. Little boys out there, don't laugh because of, the last part of that word. He said cock. Let's all grow up here, unless you're 5 and find that hilarious. Peacock, yes, Peacock. Did you know, I didn't know this actually until I was at the, I think actually it was my girlfriend that might have told me this. But I find this kind of cool. Completely side note, but talking about peacocks, like the actual animal itself, the males are actually the ones that are the most colorful. It is the females that are the ones that aren't too colorful, I think. Is that the way it works? Yeah, I think it is. Or is it the... Yes, because normally in the animal kingdom, especially, of course, here in human species as well, right? It's usually the females that get all, dolled up to lure the man. You know what I mean? I'm talking, I'm going back to sort of the evolution of certain species. And in some species, the female is the one that's kind of, lots of colors or whatever. But peacocks, it's actually the male. So when you see a male go like with its wings or whatever, and it, all up and it's all beautiful, peacock, I should say. I think that's a male. I think I have that right. And the females are the ones that are just kind of not so snazzy, just kind of plain, kind of strange. Anyway, hey, peacocks are cool. That's what they sound like. So Peacock, in case you don't know, is the streaming service for Universal, essentially. And it was announced today. Various sources picked this up. No surprise, at least it's not a surprise to me. If you follow me for any length of time, and if you've been tuning in to my shows or what have you, I've been saying this for quite some time. I've been saying that the probability that Halloween Kills will go to streaming, in addition to going to the theater, is quite high. And if it was going to go to streaming, it was going to go to Peacock. And the reason for that is because Universal owns Peacock. And Peacock right now is fairly new. The streaming wars have begun, in case you haven't noticed. Everybody cut their cable bill because they didn't want a $150 cable bill, and now they're going to have like a $200 streaming bill. But I mean, the payoff is you get lots of good shit at the very least. The thing is that cable was just sucking. But anyway, so that's what they were going to do. I mean, there was like virtually little doubt in my mind that they were going to do that if they were going to go to streaming. Some people have said, HBO Max and Netflix. You have to remember that HBO Max is owned by Warner Brothers. So that was that just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I don't see them doing that. Netflix, I mean, it just ain't gonna happen. They would look, if Universal didn't have a streaming service, then you might be able to say, hey, I wonder if they're going to sell it to Netflix or to Amazon, or, then that conversation can become sort of, is on the table, right? But Universal has a streaming service called Peacock, and they have about 54 million subscribers. So, they're fairly new. I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at, but certainly it's not Netflix or anything like that has over 200 million or 250 million or something ridiculous like that. But certainly they want to be able to compete. Nobody gets into this business to just kind of be a lull, right? Nobody gets... The studios are not getting into the streaming business to just kind of exist, right? I mean, they want to get in and compete. And, Universal's Peacock is, it's kind of a funny name, but I mean, the logo of Universal is a peacock. That's boo, boo, boo. I just dated myself there. But, it makes sense. I don't think I would have called it Peacock, but certainly I get why they did. And so it is no surprise to me that this thing is going to Peacock. That is the logical place. I do not believe for 1 second any other service, I stand to be corrected, but I do not believe for 1 second that any other service was even in the running, because it makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense. They would sacrifice, right? Like, you could make the argument and say, well, they're releasing it on streaming and on Peacock. Isn't that going to eat into the box office? Well, sure. Of course it will. But they also want to they're going to be using Halloween Kills in the same ways that they used Zack Snyder's Justice League, in a way. I mean, I know that was the only place you could see it, so technically it's not exactly the same, but the principle is kind of the same, right? They want to lure you into watching it on Peacock. Will there be pirated versions out there too? Well, probably. But certainly that's what they want to do, is they want to, that's part of it, basically, is what I'm saying. So this doesn't surprise me at all. I've been saying it for months. Like I said, if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that. Is it the right choice? Well, I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic still, in case you guys haven't noticed. And just because the movie theaters are open doesn't mean that, and I said this a long time ago. I said this like at the beginning of the year. I said, it's not about whether the movie theater's open. It's about if people are going to the movie theater. Now, obviously, people are going to the movie theaters, but are they going in the same numbers as they did 2 or 3 years ago? No, they're not. 2021 is essentially a write-off. I mean, not completely, but you know what I mean. In comparison to, right? It's another down year for the box office. Probably better than 2020. Probably better than 2020, but certainly it's a down year. And so this makes sense to do this, right? They know they're not, I mean, they know it's going to eat into the box office, but the difference is that no matter what money they make, they get it. Right? It's not like they've sold it off to, Netflix, who's bought it for, maybe less than what they would want. And then it becomes a huge hit and it makes more than what Netflix paid for it. And Universal's kind of sitting there going, fuck. You know what I mean? No, they want to make, they know what they have. The first installment made $253 million, the worldwide box office. It ain't going to make that this time. But they want to reap the benefits of whatever they can. They don't want to sell this sucker off, right? So this doesn't surprise me at all. And it is not because of the negative reviews. There are some negative reviews out there. The turnaround time, something that people have to remember. And again, there are lots of variables. It's not as if quick decisions and quick business decisions can't be made on a dime. They can, and they do happen from time to time. But generally speaking, by the time the public knows about something, whether that's an actor signing on, whether that's a business decision that a studio is making, it's been in the works for weeks, sometimes months. Right? By the time it gets to you, by the time it gets to the general public, you're just finding out about it. Variety's just putting out, an article. So it feels new. It's new information to you, right? But it's not as if, this decision was just made at 2:00 this afternoon. Usually, if that kind of thing happens, usually that's kind of part of the article. That's part of the interest, of the story, is that, it came down to the wire and last minute decision and, whatever, right? Like, you usually kind of get that. But I can tell you, I mean, by the time you learn that, I don't know, whoever so-and-so is playing so-and-so in a movie, by the time that gets to you, it's been in the process for months. So this is not new. They didn't just decide this because of the negative reviews. This was decided at the very least several weeks ago. At the very least several weeks ago, maybe even several months ago. It's entirely possible. They may not have been ready to pull the trigger, but there's not much to do when it's your own streaming service, right? There's not a lot of negotiations, there's not a lot of, legwork, and it's your own streaming service. So it's kind of like, they can take their time in sort of announcing that because it's their own backyard, So negative reviews, no. So put that out of your mind. I would be stunned to learn. And again, it's not impossible. Nothing's impossible. But I would be stunned to learn, suddenly if it's, those reviews we got from Variety and the Hollywood Reporter just kind of scared us. So we thought, oh my God, we better put it on Peacock. It's like, no, that's... No, I think they were likely going to do that anyway because, theaters are not full right now, and you can have a theater, but are people going and are your theaters, do they have capacity limits? Will people feel comfortable? October, depending on where you are in the world, it's still, a few weeks away, say like a month away, right? Weather's going to get cooler, you're going to go indoors. Are people going to feel comfortable? Is COVID going to start? I mean, there's a lot of shit. So streaming and movie theater, I can tell you, has more than likely always been what they were going to do. They may not have been certain of it for a little bit, but it was the likely choice, and it was obviously going to be Peacock. Of course, it's their own streaming service. It would make no sense to sell it off. Why would you do that? Why would you sell it off? You want to lure people to your business, right? So, doesn't surprise me there at all. Let's go over to see what Variety is saying. This is what Variety is saying here. This comes, of course, everybody picked it up. Halloween Kills to premiere on Peacock and in theaters on the same day. It says, Halloween Kills, the upcoming entry into Universal's slasher franchise, will debut on Peacock on the same day as its theatrical release. Starring Jamie Lee Curtis as the avenging teen babysitter turned grandmother obsessed with trauma, Laurie Strode. No, sorry, that doesn't say that there. I added that in. Halloween Kills is scheduled to debut on October 15th. The scary sequel will be available to Peacock Premium subscribers at no extra fee. The service launched in 2020 and runs at $4.99 per month for its ad-supported tier, or $9.99 without advertisements. So, there's some restrictions there if you want to watch it. And obviously, this is to lure you into, because this is what businesses do, right? The streaming services are hoping that even if you just sign up for Halloween Kills. Like, say you don't have Peacock and you're like, all right, I'll bite the bullet. Because maybe you go to the theater to see it, right? Maybe you go to the theater to see it and that's what you want to do, but it's Halloween night. And maybe you've seen it, a couple of times, but maybe on Halloween night, you want to have a Halloween party, and maybe you're allowed, right? Because of, the restrictions or whatever. And maybe you're allowed and you have some buddies over and your wife or your girlfriend or whatever, and you have like a little Halloween party and you guys want to watch Halloween, and there it is on Peacock to be watched, right? I mean, I guess you could all go to the movie theater, but you know what I'm talking about, right? So what these businesses hope happen is that if you do not already have Peacock, you will join Peacock and then, for the purposes of really only watching Halloween Kills, but then get enamored with some of the other content. And you're kind of like, I didn't know they had that. I didn't know that. Oh, well, you know what? Maybe I'll just stick around for a little bit. Just kind of watch a couple things. Maybe. Didn't know that. Crazy. That's what they're kind of hoping, right? And some people will do that. It will get some people. It's not going to get everybody. There will definitely be strong-willed individual people that are like, I'm not fucking signing up for Peacock. I'm just signing up to watch Halloween Kills. And they will do it. And then as soon as they're done watching Halloween Kills, then they will let it go for a bit, right? Because you're not going to sign up, watch Halloween Kills once and then cancel, because you're going to want to have it there, right? You're going to want to have it there in the background for a little bit, for a few weeks while the Halloween Kills shit is hot. You know what I mean? Because you might want to watch it a few times. And instead of going back to the movie theater and paying $10 every time you go to the movie theater, why not just pay $10 for this and I can watch as many times as I want? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I mean, again, there's different tiers and, what that all means and sort of what the price will be. I don't know if there's going to be an extra fee. Did it say that? No extra fee, right. So the premium Peacock subscribers at no extra fee. But if you're on one of the other tiers, you'd obviously have an extra fee for it. So, but that's what they're hoping, right, is that you sign up and you stick around. Because most people are unlikely to sign up, watch it once, and then cancel right away, right? You might sign up and you have every intention on sticking around, but maybe you forget about it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Universal first displayed a day and date strategy on Peacock earlier this summer with The Boss Baby. This just talks about The Boss Baby and the box office with The Boss Baby and all that kind of stuff. Halloween Kills is the latest in a long line of pandemic-era releases to deviate from a standard theatrical rollout. Since movie theater attendance has remained low, traditional Hollywood studios such as Warner Brothers and Disney have opted to many of their biggest movies simultaneously on the big screen and streaming platforms. Though growing Peacock subscriber base remains a priority for Universal's parent company, the studio has maintained its commitment to multiplexes through a pact it established last year. Under the formal agreement with cinema chains, including AMC and Cinemark, Universal can put its new movies on demand after 17 days in theaters. Prior to the pandemic, studios had to keep their new releases on the screen for at least 75 days. COVID, however, dramatically shifted the power dynamic between cinema operators and distributors. Universal is the only major studio with a written agreement for theatrical windows. Its rivals are expected to coverage on a 45-day window once the pandemic... Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that was weird. I thought it was scrolling on a different time. That's weird. Once the pandemic ends, essentially, wherever I am here. I lost my spot. Directed by David Gordon Green, blah, 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 you know, all that stuff. So, yeah. So, I mean, again, is it surprising? No. But, I think it's, is it going to eat into the box office? Yes. Of course it's going to eat into the box office, but they know that. I mean, they haven't done this thinking that this is going to benefit them money-wise. You know what I mean? In a perfect world, again, the streaming model is not yet. You cannot, and again, it depends on the budget of your movie, of course. But generally speaking, you're not going to make, $150 million opening weekend on streaming. That's just not going to happen, right? Because the business model isn't there. Still to this day, you make the most money and you have the best chances of making the most money in the theater. And then you could say, well, why don't they just release it in the theater then, right? It's primarily because of the pandemic, and it's primarily because they want to capitalize on, they know they're going to lose some money. They know that, right? But they want the option there for people who are afraid to go to the movie theater. They want to make some money than no money. You know what I mean? Because there will be people that maybe not you, not the diehard fans, right? It's not about us. How many times have I said that? It's not about the diehard Halloween fans that are going to be there at Jump. It's not about us. We're going to be, it doesn't matter, right? There could be a fucking nuclear war going on and we be standing in line in the rain. And I got my ticket and I'm like, I'm here to see Halloween Kills. I want to see Halloween Kills. else? Oh, sir, the theater's not open. There's a nuclear war going on. Haven't you noticed? We're going to be there. We're going to be there. That's what we're going to do. We're going to be there, right? But if the general movie-going audience may not, they may think, well, you know what? I don't feel safe going. I don't feel safe going. I don't want to go to the theater right now. Weather's getting colder. Cases are rising. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'll just wait till it comes out on Blu-ray. I'll just wait. It's not a big deal. Well, now you don't have to wait. Right? It's not perfect. Nobody's saying that this is the perfect thing to do, but it's being done. It's a business move. There are flaws, and there are things where they are sacrificing and saying, well, you know, we could do this or whatever, you know, but it's again, these decisions are not arbitrarily made. They're not made generally on a whim, right? They're well thought out and put into place long before you know about it. And it's a move that they've decided is the best thing to do under the circumstances, right? So those of you that do not want to go to the movie theater, do not feel comfortable in going to the movie theater, you won't have to. Now you'll have to sign up for Peacock and you know, you have to go through a few little hoops to make it a reality, but you don't have to. Of course, will the movie get pirated? Probably. I mean, you know, I don't know. Was Shang-Chi pirated? Was Jungle Cruise pirated? I don't know. I'm sure it will. You know, and you know, but sometimes those things are unavoidable. But yeah, this doesn't surprise me at all. And when it comes to the box office, I believe that knowing the information we know now, I believe that, and it could be higher, but I'm feeling a box office, you know, like 25 to 35 million. That's what I'm thinking. That's kind of what I'm feeling. I mean, maybe 40 would be quite high. That surprised me, but it is Halloween time and it's the big movie. It's, you know, it's a Halloween movie being released 2 weeks before Halloween called Halloween. You know, I mean, it could do better than that. It could, but it wouldn't surprise me if at the end of the weekend, it was like a 25 to 35 mil, which would be great. You know, and you might be thinking, great. Yeah, but we also have to remember that Halloween 18 overperformed, ladies and gentlemen. That was ridiculous. It made $70 million at the box. That's insane. It made more in one weekend than most of the Halloween movies in the series made in its entirety. Right? Like, I mean, that's generally not, like, don't think that's just the norm. Halloween 18 was an anomaly. It really was. That doesn't mean that you can't make another really good movie and repeat it, but it didn't make 70 million opening weekend and 255 worldwide because it was a good movie, right? It made it because of let me back it up. Because let's get technical. Let's get very specific. It did not make 70 million opening weekend because it was a good movie, right? It made 70 million opening weekend because a lot of people wanted to see it, because of the hype around it, because of the nostalgia. John Carpenter's back, Jamie Lee Curtis is back, Nick Castle is back. There was still a handful of people that thought Nick Castle was the shape in the entire movie until the end of the movie, right? You know, there was a lot of people went to see it, and then there was some good word of mouth, right? But it's an anomaly. It's generally not something that can be repeated. If Halloween Kills was being released solely at the box office, would it make 70 million opening weekend again for a $255 million worldwide haul? You know, you never say never, but I wouldn't bet it. If I had a gun to my head, I'd say no. Because I'm just going by the statistics of what happens generally with sequels and generally with slasher sequels, right? It doesn't mean it's not going to make 50 million, but I wouldn't say that it would necessarily make 70. But we'll see. We will see what will happen. But yes, it's going to eat into the box office, but it's not going to affect Halloween Ends. I mean, if you are worried that, if it only makes, 70 million total worldwide, I guess they're not going to make Halloween Ends. I don't think that's going to happen at all. Okay, they're going to make Halloween Ends. It's well into pre-production. You know, they have a start date of when they go to camera, and they're going to make that movie. I mean, these movies don't make or don't cost a lot of money to make, and there's a good chance, although I don't know sort of what the salary increases are, especially for Curtis, over the course of the 3 films. But there's a good chance that because Halloween Ends is a, you know, and we know this is a smaller, more contained film, that it at the very least would cost the same amount, if not less, than Halloween Kills. So you know, I don't think they're worried about that. Blumhouse specializes in this, right? You will still get Halloween Ends if Halloween Kills in its total ends up making like 70 million all together, whatever. It's like, oh my God, we're not going to get it. Kind of sound like Jerry Seinfeld there. Oh my God, what are we going to do? So interesting though, you know, but yeah, no, negative reviews. No, I'm so confident this had nothing to do with negative reviews. I'd put money on it. You know, I would. It just doesn't, it's too fast. It's not a decision that I think they would make arbitrarily like that. It's irresponsible to make a decision like that. I don't think these 5 or 6 wishy-washy reviews of Halloween Kills would affect the box office at all. I just don't. I just really don't. And I don't think this had anything to do with it. You may disagree, and that's fair. But just knowing how a lot of decisions are made, this was a high probability for a while, and they just decided to pull the trigger. And you know, and again, a lot of these types of announcements, you know, they could very well have known that, you know, on September the 9th, we're going to make that announcement. You know, I mean, it's not like somebody woke up this morning and said, you want to make that announcement? Yeah, fuck it, let's do it. I mean, does that happen? Sure, I mean, it can, but generally, right? Generally, it doesn't, that's not how it works. You know, there's very strategic plans in place for this kind of shit. And sometimes it can change, absolutely. But nobody wakes up in the morning and just says, fuck it, let's do it. You know, it's not how you keep your job. Anyway, fascinating. Comment below and let me know your thoughts on it, how you feel about it. Will you be going to the movie theater to watch it? Will you be watching it on Peacock, perhaps? I don't know. Let me know. But it is on October the 15th, 2021. Halloween Kills will be releasing simultaneously in movie theaters near you and on the streaming service Peacock. So if you are not wanting to go to the movie theater, maybe it's too expensive. Fuck that ticket at the concessions and I gotta pick up. You know, maybe you want to watch it in the comfort of your own home. Maybe it's cheaper. Well, it probably is cheaper, to be honest with you. I mean, if it's just you and your buddy or you and your, you know, significant other, then it's not a big deal. But if you wanted to bring like the wife and the kids and the whole fucking, you know, shebang, I mean, Jesus, that could cost you $150, you know, between all the tickets and the popcorn and the drinks and all that kind of stuff. It might be easier to just get some microwave popcorn from the grocery store and get a case of Coke and, you know, spend the extra money. And there you go. You spend, I don't know, $50 for the price of like, you know, 10 people or I don't know, whatever, right? So, but comment below and let me know. I'd like to know where you plan on watching Halloween Kills. Let's go over to the chat room for a little bit and see what you guys are saying. I think was this the only super chat that came in? Oh no, there's one way back there. From the Dark Light sends in $5. Thank you, Dark Light. Says, since theaters opened, it looked like most films are making half the money they would have made if COVID didn't happen. Even Disney is having some money trouble. Well, sure. Because again, like I said before, what you have to remember is just because movie theaters are open, you know, it's not like there's a one size fits all, right? It can depend on the theater chain. It can depend on maybe the state or the province or the city you live in. I mean, some theaters may be open to full capacity, but some might not be. I mean, I know I haven't checked around here lately, but I know that when the theaters opened up around here, again, back in July, I think it was July, they were open at like 50% capacity. Well, just because you can fit 50% of the capacity you're allowed to doesn't mean that 50% of the people show up. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's two things there, right? So not only are some theaters not allowing full capacity, they're only allowing 50%. That doesn't mean that 50% of the people show up. Maybe only 20% of the people show up. So you have a theater that really is only 20% full. And there's a variety of reasons of why people don't want to show up, And so just because theaters are open, I think it's going to take a while for the general public. It's starting to come around. You see it a bit, right? You see it a bit. And maybe a movie like Halloween Kills would bring them in, maybe, but there's no way of knowing it until it's there. And they feel that they've, and they look at what other studios are doing. They look at the numbers, they look at themselves, they look at the patterns, they look at the data or data, they look at it all and they say, what should we do here? Let's see if, it's not just arbitrarily decided, Doesn't mean it's going to be the right one at the end of the day, but right now they feel that this is probably the best move. You know what I mean? Probably the best move. And like I said, they want you to go to Peacock. They want to get you to go to Peacock. It's business. What else we got going on? Oh, a very generous super chat comes in from Jacob 26 Film Guy. Thank you very much, Jacob. I really appreciate that. That is a very generous super chat. Says, hey Dave, does Canada have the same theaters as in the US? For example, AMC, Cinemark theaters. Also, my acting class is going great. Learning about acting, named you as one of my inspirations, and everyone in the class of 20 said they watch your channel. Oh, really? Wow. Well, shout out to everybody in your acting class. Amazing. Really? All 20? I find that humbling, I guess, in a lot of ways. I didn't know I had that kind of reach. Well, awesome. Shout out to you guys in that acting class. And remember, you can do it. I believe in everybody. I believe in you. I know you're going to do it. You're going to fucking rock it. Yeah, you guys are going to kick some ass. So in Canada, our AMC is a theater chain called Cineplex. And it is the dominant force in Canada. It's like 90% of the time, if you go to a movie, you're going to a Cineplex. That's the name of the chain. And they're exactly like, the AMCs. They have the IMAXs, they have the Dolby Atmos sounds, they have the stadium seating, they have it's the same level of quality. Basically, is what I'm saying. In terms of the experience. Now, some things might differ. AMC will offer certain things that a Cineplex may not have, and a Cineplex might offer some things that, an AMC doesn't have or whatever. But generally speaking, it's the same. I've been to both and it's the same. We have the VIP theaters as well, where you sit and you get a waitress will bring your drink and you get to, in the recliners and you go, we have all that shit too. So they're the big ones. We also have, we don't have Regal. We used to have AMC. I don't think we have AMC anymore. AMC was up here for I want to say maybe 20 years, 15 years maybe. And then I don't know why, but they didn't stick around. Had to have been for money, obviously. And then Cineplex moved into all of what was the AMC. But we used to have it. We used to have AMC up here, I want to say as recently as 10 years ago. I mean, they were here. I know that's not recent, but I mean, it's not a lot, they were here. And then there's another chain here as well. Hang on, I actually might be able to bring this up quickly because I know where there's one. Landmark. Okay, so there's another chain up here in Canada called Landmark Cinemas. Wait, is that down where you guys, did you just mention that? Cinemark. No, you said AMC. Cinemark. Well, we have one called Landmark. Is Landmark one down there too? Is that a U.S. chain that's maybe here? Maybe it's just a Canadian chain. So we have Cineplex, which is 90% of them. We have Landmark as well. And then, of course, there's mom and pop shops and all that kind of stuff too. So, thanks for the very generous super chat. And again, congratulations on the acting class going well. And shout out to everybody in your acting class. Awesome stuff. Jordan Ellis sends in $4.99. Thank you, Jordan. Says, hey, Dave, hope you're doing well. I'm doing all right. When do you think the second and or final trailer will drop? I figure this month. I'm not getting the sense that you're going to see another full trailer. I think from here on out, you're just going to see promos. 30-second, 60-second promos. TV spots, I think is what you're going to see. I don't think you're going to see, I mean, I could be wrong, but I just don't think you're going to see another fully fleshed out, minute and a half, 2-minute trailer. I don't think it's necessary. Unless it's just essential, unless they do release one with a couple of different shots, but it's essentially just a repackaged, it's repackaged from the trailer before. That's entirely possible as well. I just don't think you're going to see it. I think it's just going to be some different promo spots. David Coe sends in $4.99, says, Dave, is it time to give up on the petition to have Halloween Kills released early? Your roast video was one of my faves. I think so. I remember that. I think so. I think it's time to give it up. I remember that. Oh my God. That was so ridiculous. It was like this time last year, I think. Cody Buchanan sends in $5. Thank you, Cody. Says, I'm going to suit up and put on one of my Michael Myers masks and go into the theaters to watch it. Hey, why not? I say you go in with a Michael Myers mask on and then put the surgical mask or the mask that you would wear over your face, to protect yourself. And you put that over. So you show that even Michael Myers is protecting himself, even though he's got a mask over a mask. I still think it'd be a funny photo. All right. Brandon Gregory sends in $1.99, says, yesterday's news didn't ruin my day, but this did. Well, it shouldn't ruin your day. I mean, you still have the option. It's not going exclusively to Peacock. It's going to theaters and Peacock. So, I mean, if you feel comfortable in going to a movie theater, then go to the movie theater. They're not taking away the theatrical experience from you, right? You're still going to get a theatrical experience. You can still go and see Halloween Kills in the movie theater, right? It's releasing in the movie theater and on streaming, right? So, I don't think it should ruin your day. I mean, unless you have shares, unless you made a bet with somebody and it was a significant amount of money, I don't think this should ruin your day. I don't think. Chris Baber sends in $4.99. Thank you very much, Chris, one of our great moderators here. Cosplayers are a bonus for Myers films. Venom won't have this. Also, I did this and saw H4 for free and got tickets for my friends in 1988. Score awesome. That's really cool, man. That's really cool. Yeah. Well, of course, right? I mean, it's because it's Halloween time, too. I mean, if you can release a Halloween movie in and around Halloween time, as close to Halloween as you possibly can, people are in the mood. It's the festive mood. People are excited, so it's not unprecedented that you're going to see people, maybe go to the theater in their costumes or whatever. I think that's fun. I don't know what theaters will allow now because of the whole new restrictions, but certainly, yeah, it can definitely be fun. Christopher Gomez sends in $5. Thank you, Christopher. Says, this is a smart decision considering how things are in the world. We'll be seeing it in theaters. Yeah, there you go. I totally agree. And, I mean, listen, if everybody, it is a smart decision. It may not feel like it. I think a lot of people, and I think this is part of the problem, and I don't want to speak for everybody because not everybody feels this way, but I think because movies are very difficult to measure because of the subjectivity of them, box office is something we can measure. And I've talked about this many times, and I think a lot of people, even though they know what I'm about to say, like they do know it, I think there are some people that don't necessarily think of this consciously, but it's kind of like the box office numbers. I think people like to see their favorite movie or movies that they're rooting for do well at the box office because somehow it's validation for them. Somehow it's some sort of vindication or validation in some sort of way. Maybe it's to prove that, see, the movie is still relevant, or to prove that, and this is not the way you want to prove this because it doesn't mean that the movie is good, and because it doesn't mean that. I mean, we always have to remember that just because a movie makes a lot of money doesn't mean it. I mean, it can mean it was a good movie, but they're not mutually exclusive to each other. So it doesn't mean that. It just means a lot of people went to see it, right? The question is how many of those people that went to see it liked it. And because you can't go back to the box office and get your money back if you didn't like it, your money still counts towards the box office total, even though you might have thought the movie was dog shit, right? So you never judge generally speaking, a movie's box office tally as the example of it being beloved by everybody. I mean, it doesn't, it can, I guess, but it doesn't necessarily mean that. But I think it's one of the only ways we have of measuring film, is through box office results. And I think some people get so emotionally attached to the idea of their favorite movie doing well that somehow when a decision is made, a business decision is made that, might eat into that, likely will, but it's the circumstances of the reality of the situation we're in and the world. They somehow feel that means that the movie is, it's not really, just means not very good, or it doesn't mean anything. It just is. It doesn't mean that at all. I mean, listen, they could, in a perfect world with no COVID, this movie still could have only made $120 million worldwide at the box office. That's entirely possible. We have no idea how much Halloween Kills would have made if this was released 2 or 3 years ago, right? We don't know. Statistics tell us it would be less than Halloween 18, right? The pattern of slashers tell us that it would be probably significantly less, where maybe it would make $100 million less worldwide, which is still a hell of a fucking total for a slasher film, right? Because we have to remember, again, Halloween 18 overperformed by leaps and bounds. So we shouldn't necessarily, even though I understand why we have to remember that that's not exactly the best measuring stick moving forward, so we have to keep that in mind as well. But yeah, that's not, I mean, it's, I understand why people feel a little disappointed because, if Halloween Kills does well, it's like Team Halloween, right? We're Team Halloween. And if Halloween Kills can do better than Jungle Cruise, and if Halloween Kills can do better than The Conjuring 3, and if Halloween Kills can do better than A Quiet Place, it's like, our team wins! Our team wins! Woo! We won! Team Halloween won! Team Halloween won! Like, it really is. It's like a team thing. And when Team Halloween finds out that their movie is going to be at the same disadvantage of a lot of these other films, they go, oh, fuck, damn, our team is not going to, it's very tribal in that way. When at the end of the day, it just doesn't mean, it's not going to affect, I can tell you right now, it's not going to affect Halloween Ends. They're not going to cancel, Halloween Kills could make $50 million total worldwide, and they're not going to go, well, guess we shouldn't make Halloween Ends. It's not going to happen. I'd be stunned. They're too far into pre-production. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, right? There are a lot of variables as to why, and there's other ways for this movie to make money. Digital downloads, Blu-ray sales, 4K sales, box, there are other ways it's going to continue to make money, not just at the box office. So, yeah, don't worry, guys. It's okay. But yes, but will it affect the box office? Yes, of course, because you're fragmented a little bit here, right? It's absolutely going to affect it. But I don't want people to think that somehow this means that the movie's shit or that, the movie, but I guess it depends on how you see those things, but yes, it is. I predict a 25 to 35 mil opening. I think that's realistic. And if it's more, then great. June H sends in $2, says, thoughts on Wolfman Jack Radio. Wolfman Jack! All right, everybody. Wolfman Jack. I love Wolfman Jack. All right, everybody. This is Wolfman Jack coming to you live. Oh, I love Wolfman Jack. Well, I mean, obviously, he's before my time, but I know who Wolfman Jack is, and he had that small role, very cool role in American Graffiti, of course. And yeah, I mean, I one of the most iconic, of course, his real name isn't Wolfman Jack, but that was his, on-air name, but and he didn't sound like this either. But he did on the radio, but of course, when he spoke, he just got to talk like this. All right, everybody, yeah, my name's, hey, what's going on? But then when he got on the radio, he got way up here. All right, everybody, yeah. That's what he did. I love it. Yeah, no, I wish I would have grown up with him through like, the 60s and the 70s. And yeah, it would have been great. Because at that time, people tuned in, not just to listen to the music, you tuned in to listen to your favorite DJ, right? The personality, and Wolfman Jack was a hell of a personality. I forget how long he's been dead now, but yeah, he was awesome. That's such a niche question or comment. It was great. I love that, June, going hard into the paint. Or deep cut, I should say. Fast Forwards 289 sends in $9.99. Thank you. Says, hey, Dave, off subject, but was wondering if you'll do another video on some of your favorite movies. There were a lot of good movies I had never seen before, like The Game, Mr. Brooks, and many more. Maybe, but my list really hasn't changed that much. I would just sort of be recycling the same stuff. So, but yeah, The Game, I love The Game. Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, yeah, there's a lot of great films out there, of course. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Rosemary's Baby, Sunset Boulevard. Oh my God, those are some great ones. The Bridge on the River Kwai. Love The Bridge on the River Kwai. If you guys haven't heard, I'm sure you guys have heard of it. Maybe not. Alec Guinness. Love that movie. Oh, well, there's a few that weren't in there. But yeah, no, for sure. I don't think I'll do another one, but, well, it depends. Maybe, but I'm in no rush. Nightly Gaimo! Yes, Nightly, of course. Shout out to the big Nightly here, who was executive producer on It's Me, Billy. Nightly, great to see you here. Thank you. You are amazing, but you already know that. Nightly sends in $4.99, says, to chime in about wearing a Myers mask to a theater, I went to H18 opening night with a mask, and the manager came out and made us take them all off. I get you. Was it for security, maybe? Maybe they wanted to kind of be able to put faces to everybody in case of somebody was there for nefarious reasons, perhaps. That's entirely possible. Yeah, that's too bad, though. That's too bad. Man, I'm looking at myself in the camera. I need a fucking shave. I'm going for a run tonight, and when I get home, I'm going to fucking shave. I need a shave. I look like a bum. Or I guess that's not the right PC word now, right? It's not a bum. It's what's the word? I don't even think it's homeless anymore. It's like without home. I'm not trying to be a dick. I really think it's something like it's getting really, really specific. That's hilarious, Nightly. Awesome. Oh, and Nightly, did you let me know, because I've sent you some things. I just want to make sure that you've got them. Just want to make sure. Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Just want to make sure if I need to look into some shit. It's me, Billy stuff. Rad77 sends in $4.99, says, I'll be watching it in theaters twice, Friday and Saturday, and on Peacock Sunday. There you go. I want them to win first week box office, and I want to enjoy watching it at home. See, and I think that's what it is. And there's nothing wrong with what Rad7 has said, but I think that's what it is. I think a lot of movie fans use the box office because it's the only thing we can measure objectively, right? It doesn't matter whether you like the movie or not. It doesn't matter who's in the movie. We can look at how much a movie makes, and that's an exact science. I mean, it is irrefutable. You cannot say it did not make this much when it did. It is a fact, 100%. It's absolutely 100% objective and verifiable. And I think that we get into this tribal team kind of thing, like our movie won, yeah! And it's just like, I never really understood. I mean, you always hope a movie does well, a movie that you like, of course. But I think that does exist. Even if you don't really think of it consciously like that. Mikey Film sends in $2. Thank you, Mikey. Says, personally, I think this suits best of both worlds. And you may be right. We will see what will happen. You may be right, as Dr. Well, he doesn't say that. He says they may be right, I think is what he says. But they may be right. Okay, did I get all the super chats? I think I did, if I'm not mistaken. I believe I did. How long have I been going here? My plan was not to jump on for eternity. I just wanted to jump on and give my quick thoughts on that. I've been going for 49 minutes. Okay, well, we'll take this thing to an hour. hour at the very least. And yeah, so we'll scroll down. What else is going on? Colin Murdy says they will make a ton on physical media from Halloween Kills. Well, that's the hope, hopefully. Just think of the various versions of the box set trilogy that will come out once Halloween Ends is released. Oh, for sure, absolutely. Paul Williams says, Dave, it's so many brand new TV spots coming out. Why don't they just release a second trailer? It's because, well, what they do is, again, part of a marketing plan is, you know, there are certain like if they just release one extra trailer and they release it now, but they have nothing in the lead up to the actual release of the movie, like it's a marketing strategy. Right. So there are specific dates and I can tell you this as a voice actor who's voiced movie promos and television ads. I can tell you that, you know, when they go to the networks for airing, there are specific days and not just days, specific time. Well, of course, this is network television. When it goes to the internet, it's just out there now. But there are, for television, for those of you that still watch TV, there are specific days, like dates in terms of when that ad is going to first begin to air. And then there are specific times throughout that day or throughout the week when that ad is going to air because they know what the target demographic is. They know, you know, that most people who are going to watch our movie are 18 to 45, let's say. And they know that most people watch television who are 18 to 45 between the hours of like 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. So that's where you're going to see it the most. Do you know what I mean? Again, that's going back into the TV days of, you know, when most people had TV and some still do. But when it comes to, of course, the internet and YouTube, we know, anybody who's done advertising on YouTube, you know that you can target certain demographics when certain demographics are online, when certain demographics are on YouTube, right? Most 18 to 45 are on YouTube at this time to this time. So then all of a sudden, from that time to that time, if you don't have YouTube Premium that gets rid of the ads, and you're going to see a ton of, you're like, holy shit, I'm seeing all this stuff that looks like it's geared towards people of my demographic. Why is that? Well, that's not arbitrary. That's calculated, you know, and it's on purpose and it's not willy-nilly. So these kinds of rollouts are like this. You know, they have like, you know, they know that in the marketing lead, and I'm just picking this number out of thin air because I'm not in the universal marketing department, but knowing what I know, you know, for example, let's say that they know they have 10 spots. They've cut 10 spots. Well, instead of just releasing one trailer once, you know, in the middle of September, and then it kind of loses steam by, you know, the second week of October, they have 10 spots. They're going to release this here. We're going to release 2 in the week before it comes out to get people jazzed. And then, you know, and oh no, let's release that one. That image of Myers right there where he's like coming up like this. People are going to fucking lose their minds. Do you want to release it right now? No, don't release it right now. Release it 4 days before the movie. Then it's that extra, whoa! You know what I mean? Again, I'm being very theatrical with this, but that is sort of kind of what goes on. You know, they're like, you know, take It's Me, Billy, right? And although we're not a big studio, we're not making money off of this, one of the things that Bruce and I did is we handled our marketing very much like a studio would. There were a lot of things that we did with the cutting of our trailers and the images that we would show and when we would show them and when we would drop the images. And if you've been following me on social media, you saw that. You saw the images that we would drop, all calculated. We knew what images we were going to drop on when and for specific reasons as to why and what images would garner the biggest response and get people pumped up. No, let's release this image that day, right before the trailer. No. You don't want to release it too soon. You don't want to. Again, I'm giving a very Cliff Notes kind of version of this, but that's how, I mean, that is what goes on. These aren't arbitrary things. So they want to be able to keep you hyped for a month. They don't want to release one trailer and then just let it go. They want to cut 30-second spots, 60-second spots. They have dates and times of when these things are going to air and time frames of when they're going to be most seen, you know, and who they're going to target. And, you know, I mean, I hate to say this, but you're being manipulated. Marketing is manipulation. Marketing is, they're manipulating you to get you excited. It sounds so bad, but that's marketing, right? I mean, that is to to get you to buy the service or the product, whether it's internet, whether it's cell phone, whether it's a hockey game or a microphone or whatever it is. It's the ultimate goal is to get you to buy into whatever it is they're selling. So, yeah. Fliximetry. I like that. I always like that name. I've always liked that name, I should say. $4.99. Thank you, buddy. Says one more Dave. Imagine if they released the theater version as planned and then announcing on October 30th a director's cut on Peacock for Halloween. Yeah, no, they wouldn't. I mean, cool, amazing, but they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. I don't think Universal, because it would all depend if, like, David Gordon Green has no say whether, like, and it depends on how much, because not every movie, folks, I mean, you have to remember that not every movie, there is a director's cut. Sometimes, depending on the scale of the film, depending on how much say a director has, sometimes the movie that is put out would be the director's cut anyway. Sometimes the director, if you were to talk to them, they'd say, oh, no, I mean, I might switch that out for that, but not at the end of the day, I it is what I wanted. You know what I mean? Like, that happens too. Not every studio meddles, there's different levels and tiers of meddling, right? So Halloween Kills might just be everything that David Gordon Green wanted it to be. In terms of what he shot. I mean, maybe there were some things that he wished he could have shot that he didn't. Maybe there's one or two little things that maybe didn't make it in that he might add back in. But with a film like Halloween Kills, I can't imagine there being a director's cut. Like, so much stuff that was left on the cutting room floor and stuff they just couldn't get in there. And, I just don't see it. But I mean, I know some people were speculating that they would release the movie in theaters on October 15th and then release it, on Peacock October 31st. And I guess you could have done that. I mean, I guess you could have done that. But I think they want to utilize the immediacy of the opening weekend hype. That's what they want to do. And instead of, because what they want to do as well is they know that if they were to release it on, and I'm talking about the general movie-going audience, if they were to release it on Halloween on Peacock, most people would watch it for Halloween, but not watch it after. It's November 1st. You Americans are already getting, ready for Thanksgiving. Our Thanksgiving is the second, or the first or second, I forget now, Monday in October. Your Thanksgiving south of the border is the last Thursday in November. Well, once Halloween is over and it's November 1st, you guys are right into Thanksgiving mode, right? And by releasing it simultaneously, they take advantage of the 2-week hype leading up to Halloween as well. Because everybody's getting into the mood, everybody's festive, you're going to watch it over and over and over and over and over leading up to Halloween as well. Whereas if they release it just on Halloween, you might take advantage of it that night, and somebody's going to take advantage of it on, a day or two after, but eventually by the second week of November, the vast majority of people, not the Halloween bubble, but the vast majority of people don't give a fuck about it anymore, right? So that also is part of the strategy, I'm sure. It's like, yeah, we could release it on Halloween, essentially when it's exciting for one day, or we can release it simultaneously and take advantage of a 2-week hype train to Halloween. You know what I mean? So you have to think about that as well. Chris Baber, again, my man. Thank you, buddy. Says theaters here are reserved seating with seats removed for distancing. I wonder if the streaming services are learning on those empty seats. Leaning on those empty seats, maybe? Learning on those empty seats? I think I know what you mean. Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, they absolutely know about it. But like I said, I mean, that's part of it, right? They know the theaters are not going to be full. So they figure that, let's release it simultaneously and see if we can make up some of the difference. It's a risk. It is going to eat into the theatrical box office for sure. But October, weather's cooler, Halloween parties, I mean, who knows? Maybe it might surprise us. It's not going to make as much if it just had a theatrical release in a non-pandemic world. Of course not. We know that. But I still think it's going to do fine. And if Halloween Kills makes 25, 35, 40 million opening weekend, that's great. That's great. In this world right now, that's fantastic. Because like I said, 70 million was massively overperforming. So yeah. What do we have? We're almost at the hour mark, ladies and germs. We are almost at the hour mark. So, oh, that's weird. Wonder why it suddenly changed to that. Funny. I don't know why. Okay. Any other? I don't think I missed any other super chats. At least I don't believe I did. But yeah, if you are watching after the fact, or if you're currently watching me right now, comment below and let me know your thoughts. Are you watching it in the movie theater and then watching it on streaming? But for those of you, if you don't care about Team Halloween, if you don't care about the tribalism of this obsession, again, if you are a studio executive, or if you have shares in Universal, or if you've made some massive bet with somebody, well, then I can understand why you may be extremely disappointed, upset, and angry over this decision, perhaps. Maybe, depending on what your bet was. But if you don't care, I mean, if they're not taking the theatrical experience away from you, you are still going to be able to see the movie in the theater. And you can also then come home and watch it on streaming. Like, how cool is that? You could go to the movie theater and watch it, and then come home and watch it again in the comfort of your fucking bed. Or on your phone if you wanted to. You know, you don't have to worry about dragging your ass to the theater again. I mean, some of you will, and that's great. I'm a huge proponent of the theatrical experience. But now that you've had the theatrical experience and you're like, oh, I've been there, done that, I can watch it at home now. You can totally do that. So, and if you don't want to go to the theater because it's too much money and I gotta drive to the theater and the popcorn and the family, you can just watch it at home. So for the average person, it's a win-win. For the average individual, it's a win-win. But if you are tribal and you are very sort of using box office results with movies to feel like your team won or whatever, yeah, I guess I can understand why it would be a little upsetting, I guess. Flick Symmetry sends in $4.99, says, Dave, did I miss what you plan to do? What I plan to do? Oh, I'll probably go to the movie theater. Yeah, I mean, I'll have to see what the restrictions are and well, actually, I think. Yeah, I know what the restrictions are. I mean, like, I'll have to see if it's sold out because, with 50% capacity, I got to see whether they're allowing, I might have to buy my tickets early or, what have you. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, of course, ideally, I would love to go to the movie theater and see it. So we'll see. But we shall see. All right, folks. Hey, that is going to do it for me. I know normally I'm around for 90 minutes, but I just wanted to jump on here and give you guys some thoughts on that. Comment below and let me know your thoughts. Thank you, of course, as always, to my great moderators, Frank Riker, Tabitha Short, Darren Sands, and Chris Baber. You guys and gal are amazing. And by the way, I think today is Tabitha Short's birthday. So big happy birthday to Tabitha. Oh, I hope you've had a great birthday. I think it was today, or was it yesterday? Was it yesterday? No, I think it was today. Fuck. Anyway, happy birthday, Tabitha. You are amazing. And thank you to all the super chat questions that came in, of course, the non-super chat questions. I know I didn't get much to them really, but a lot of super chats again. Scott Mariano goes hard into the paint and says, Dave, you missed my super chat above. Did I? Oh, Scott, I did. Let me go back and see if I can get this. My apologies, Scott. You're right. I did. There it is. And I also missed a Dante H as well. There is also a teaser with the announcement. Yes, Dante, thank you for the $1.99. I did see that teaser. I did see that. Thank you so much. Scott Mariano, here it is. Dave, I got to experience The Exorcist Director's Cut in theaters back in 2000. Now, that was a cool experience. I can only imagine how it was back in 73. Oh, yeah. The Exorcist is definitely one of those movies that I would have loved to have seen in the theater in 1973. The Exorcist in 73, Jaws in 75, Black Christmas in 74, Halloween 78, Star Wars 77. I mean, yeah, there's a handful of Raiders of the Lost Ark in 81. I would have loved to have seen that. That would have been cool. I mean, I was born in 79, but of course I was only 2 in 1981, so I wasn't exactly rushing out to see Raiders of the Lost Ark. I did get to see Gremlins at the drive-in, like when it first came out, because I was 5. And I did see Back to the Future when it first came out at the drive-in as well. So that was cool. But yeah, I mean, that would have been awesome. The Exorcist? Oh my God, that would have been totally cool. All right. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Again, if you're watching after the fact, comment below and let me know your thoughts. What do you think about this? You know, are you somebody that just really wants to see it do well at the box office because it makes you feel like your love and your fandom is vindicated? I mean, there are people that are like that. Even if you don't think about this consciously, maybe that'll make you go, oh yeah, maybe that's why I'm kind of so obsessed with this. I couldn't care less. I mean, I always hope the movie does well, you know, but at the end of the day, it doesn't. They have not limited your ability to see it, right? I could totally understand if they said, hey, we're no longer releasing it in theaters, we're just releasing it on streaming. It's like, because then you are removing the theatrical experience, but they're not doing that. So comment below and let me know where you plan on seeing it. Folks, have a great rest of your Thursday, and I will talk to you soon. Cheers.